Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. Good morning and God bless. Welcome to the Front Page Saturday Town Hall Edition. My friend Roland Bynum passing the microphone. Thank you so much, Roland. We are talking today about my vote. Does it matter? Does my vote even matter? So much conversation. I think a lot of it, the last few days, we've had another resurgence because of the theft of ballot boxes. And of course, the conversation around Ice Cube and what is happening with him, his sort of alignment, I guess, with the Republican Party, or his declaration that we should be with both parties and try to negotiate, and him, causing some controversy. Of course, I'd love to hear from you. 520-KJLH, 520-5554. We'll be talking with, you may have heard him during the week on the Front Page regular show, which is 4:30 to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. And so, of course, we encourage you to tune in then. A lot of people have been calling, asking about the different propositions and such. We talk about them all the time. We have open phones every Tuesday and every Friday as well. And I have a special thing that we do on the Front Page weekday show where if you are running for an office, you can call any Tuesday, and you get 60 seconds uninterrupted to talk about whatever is on your mind. As you know, we've been doing a series of Get Out the Vote and voter registration events that, are sponsored by your election information station, Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. Well, there's another one going on today. It's not sponsored by us, but it is put together by one of the organizations we've been partnering with. They're called Black Out the Ballot. It's out at Watts Labor Community Action Committee. It's called Exercise Your Vote. Starts at 11 a.m. this morning. And it's got an artesian market, food, music. And they've got, of course, Black Out the Ballot. Can answer whatever questions you might have about your registration. Monday is the deadline for the official registration. Walk Good LA is a partner on this. And it's all at WLCAC, which, as you know, is 10950 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California. And you are welcome to go out and argue with them if you don't get your fair share of arguing in about whether or not the vote actually matters. Your vote matters. The other thing that's happening out at WLCAC as part of this thing today, they're registering people to vote, but you can get a free COVID test. CORE, the Community Organized Relief Effort, has got a mobile trailer out, and they are giving away free COVID tests, and you can get your results back within 48 hours. So a chance to do some yoga, do some walking, mindfulness, and get registered. Make sure you're registered to vote, and also get your COVID test in. Man, a lot going on. Okay, we have a Justice Transformation Organizer. That's what he calls himself. He's a lifelong resident of South LA, works at LA Voice. And he was formerly incarcerated. He gained his freedom after 22 years of incarceration. He gained his freedom in 2015, joined LA Voice. He's also part of something called LA Free the Vote, and they teamed up with KJLH as well to register voters. Good morning, Tim. Tim Kornegay is our guest.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, Front Page listeners. Hope everybody's embracing that first blessing we all get by waking up and ready to get some information and have a good conversation about how important voting is in this election season.
I mean, you talk about, the importance of voting all the time. That's, one of the things that you do. But why is it one of the things that you do? I don't think it was one, I might be wrong, but I don't think it was one of the things that you did before you were incarcerated for 22 years. Talk to me a little bit about that journey.
Well, on that, you're correct. It's during that journey and trying to understand how I could end up, and so many others like me could end up with so much time for crimes that didn't necessitate that kind of over sentencing. I started to study and get information and realize that the laws that we are subject to are crafted and engineered primarily by politicians. while individuals are sitting around doing what they do, living their lives, there are elected officials who design what laws look like, and sometimes when we're not paying attention, we find ourselves literally in front of a judge being sentenced, not even aware of the fact that we've broken certain laws. And myself, I ended up being one of the first individuals challenged by the 3 strikes law. So encountering that and thinking how could something that I thought in my mind previously the most time that I could receive was 16 months, 2 years, or 3 years. Imagine my surprise when I went to court and the judge told me I was facing 38 years to life for the equivalent of receiving stolen property.
Wow. But, you're right that the 3 strikes law here in California has twisted up a lot of families and put people in situations that they never expected to be in. But how did you connect that to the vote?
To look like where did this come from? How did this happen? How did we find ourselves under so much adversity? And then looking through it, it's like this is a legislative measure that was passed in an emergency time in the 90s by our governor, and then people voted it in, not realizing what they were voting for, until it started like robbing the community of our folks and being a contributing factor to the explosion of the prison population. And in following that, it's just the discovery that almost everything that impacts us socially, if you follow it, finds itself rooted in some political decision somewhere with individuals that we have no understanding of their background or their belief system, and they're making decisions that really hurt individuals and hurt communities.
Yeah, so, that's the conversation, and I feel like a lot of the people, especially formerly incarcerated people, feel either they think they can't vote or they think they can't vote and don't care because they have, I don't know what it is, but I feel like particularly as African Americans, we have absorbed this message that our vote doesn't make a difference.
Well, when I got free physically and got employed at LA Voice, I immediately found myself with the opportunity to do some election support, namely for one of the propositions, Prop 57, which was some criminal justice reform, but having an eye on all the other stuff that was going on in 2016, I started to notice that some of these politicians were in office by voting numbers that were minuscule. Some of us have more contacts, more Facebook friends, and Instagram followers than votes it takes for some of these politicians to hold off. Like, wow. I've been in places where there were more people on what we call a yard than it took to get a politician elected, and it's those politicians that had us moving around on the yards like that. So I was like, wow, if we would just wake up and realize that California has been the country has been so effective and so efficient in locking individuals up and commodifying our mistakes before we realize the way we think, that we have the kind of numbers that could really impact the political spectrum, city, county, and state. So being one that was indirectly influential in some of the toxic behavior of individuals trying to go into prison, it's just like, hey, I need to start telling individuals what's going on, because we've bitten into a narrative that's got us stepping into options that were only designed to create job security for those folks who work in the prison system or who are part of the prison industrial complex.
So, just quickly, because I know we're probably going to go over the whys of why people think it doesn't matter, but explain the rules for felons, because I think it is confusing, especially since we have a proposition on the ballot that's giving felons who are on probation. See, I'm already getting confused. The right to vote. So how does it work in California if you've been formerly incarcerated as you were?
Oh, if you don't mind, first I'll talk about Prop 17. And Prop 17 will give individuals who are actively on parole the right to vote. And the reason why that is if you're sentenced to prison or if you've been to state prison, you lose your right to vote while you're incarcerated. And when you're free, parole is an extension of your incarceration. You're literally in prison on the street with those same kind of restrictions. So that restriction follows you on Prop 17, restores that. But right now, before this proposition is passed in California, if you haven't been deemed incompetent by a judge, if you're a naturalized citizen and you aren't physically in prison, you aren't in the county jail and have been convicted of a felony and waiting to go to prison, and if you aren't on parole, you can vote. If you're on probation, state or federal, you can vote. So the narrative that once you get a felony conviction that you're disenfranchised and no longer have a right to vote, that's untrue. And it's been untrue for many years, so much so that the state of California had to clarify it in 2016, saying that individuals who are on probation, state or federal, do have the right to vote, and those restrictions should be moved out of the way so folks could exercise that option.
All right, and just to be clear, because I feel like we say this, but people really need to know it right now, because I feel like the unlikely voters are even more important this election cycle than the regular voters. You don't when you get out of prison and you get off of parole, you don't have to do anything to be eligible to vote in California, right?
No, all you have to do is register.
Yep, and you can register at lavote.net. Actually, you can. We have till Monday for the official registration, but it's a little bit weird because in reality, you can register all the way up till Election Day. But for the regular registration, it's Monday will be the deadline. So, Tim, what would you tell the people that say, both parties are the same, it doesn't make any difference, I'm going to sit this out? And, those are the people, by the way, that are, I feel like, well, not just I feel like, it's showing that studies and just the empirical evidence is showing that black men are the ones that are being targeted by, the incumbent, the Trump administration, because they feel that they are angry at the system or feel disrespected by Democrats, and therefore they're either going to, vote for Trump or not vote at all. And I hear that a lot. My vote doesn't make any difference. Both parties are the same. What do you tell those folks?
What I would tell individuals when they say that both parties are the same, that's their option to believe that, and there may be some truth to that. But the thing is, you are the difference. It doesn't matter what the parties do. You have the power to elect individuals to represent your best interests. So when you take yourself out of the game and accept that your vote doesn't count, then that's the most important vote there is the one that is never cast, because those who may not have the community's best interest on their desk in front of them may find themselves in a committee making a decision that's based on information that they don't have. So I would tell folks that get in the game and play it. Don't sit on the sideline and let other individuals decide for you. Become a contributing factor into the way things are shaped. And then if you feel like your vote doesn't count, then that's a decision that can be made. But if you have never voted That is not the position you want to have. Be the person. Take that if you feel like it's a chance, if you feel like it's a risk, cast your vote and follow your vote with a demand and then ask for accountability that this is what we voted for, this is what we want to see, and you guys have to make this happen. And somewhere along the line, politicians or the system has convinced folks that they know how to make decisions for the community when, in fact, politicians are employed by the community. We are the employers, and our vote is the yes after the job interview. So start acting in that manner, start carrying yourself in that manner, and know that not only does your vote count, your voice counts when you follow it up and challenge folks to do what they said they would do and what you need them to do.
All right, so let's we're almost out of time here, but I want you to tell people who are listening to your words and saying, well, you know what, maybe Tim Kornegay is reaching me on some level, but I haven't registered before, or, oh no, it's till Monday. What are you always telling people? You're out here with, Free the Vote, LA Free the Vote, and LA Voice doing this work. What is it that you are always telling people, and what instructions can you give them right now?
We have until the 19th, and KJLH and Supervisor Mark Riley Thomas and myself will be on Crenshaw in front of Earls doing this last day, last push for this registration. Come see what this is like. Come participate. Have these conversations and know everything that everything we're doing now is on the ballot. And for that marginalized community that doesn't even pay attention to politics, that first stimulus check is the result of a political decision. The fact that the second one hasn't arrived is the result of a political decision. If there were more folks who represented our interests in place, and there wasn't that push and pull between the opposing political parties, the second one may have arrived. Those who can get COVID tests for a minute, that was a political decision. So our lives, our finances, our social structure is on the ballot. Do not let this become concretized in a manner that does not serve the communities we move around in.
All right.
It's beholden on us to participate.
Thank you so much, Tim Kornegay. They can find you at lafreethevote.org, right?
Yeah, lafreethevote.org or lavoice.org.
Thank you so much. And just for clarity, the Monday event is something I'm doing on behalf of the Brotherhood Crusade, the LA Urban League Community Build. It's not actually a KJLH event. SCLC, LA Free the Vote, Earl's Grill, LA Voice. And of course, we will be out there from 1 to 5 p.m. We got a DJ though. We got PZB. Anyway, we are going to continue our conversation. Does my vote even matter? Call me now, 520-KJLH, 520-5554. It's Radio Free 102.3 KJLH.